Hey, Sel, so what really motivates women over the age of 50 to exercise? It was something that I was thinking about, and so I put a poll up in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy. And it was a really interesting read. You had a look, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we all want to look good, feel good, move great. That's what's important to us. But, what is that underlying motivation that keeps us going? And so we sort of like broke it down into different categories of what we've heard over the past 20 years. And it was really interesting, I think, to find out that the top motivation at a whopping 32% was to improve life and maintain independence. So this really speaks volumes, doesn't it, about what our
Yeah.
priorities are as we age. So we're not just worried about the looking good or the feeling good. It is all about moving better and having that great quality of life.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting because when you're in your 20s and 30s, this isn't what you're thinking about.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
No.
mm-mm. No,
You hit
you're
that
not.
you hit that age, whether it's over 40 or over 50, where your hips start hurting, your ankles are hurting, your
Yes.
shoulders are hurting,
Yeah.
and then you go, oh, okay, so this sort of stuff is pulling me up a bit,
Yeah.
and you start thinking about it.
And the reality is, if only you thought about it when you were in your 20s, it
Yes.
will be so much easier in your 50s or your
This
60s or beyond,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Only we don't focus on, that long term when we're that age. So, but we do start to think about it more as we get older.
No.
So,
When when
and
we're that age, we're just living in the moment,
yeah,
and
exactly.
we only look forward 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
And I think there's a valuable lesson in that as well too. Living in the moment. I think that's pretty important
Mm, mm.
because we can get very caught up on our routines and the things that we do, and thinking that we're not able to do something outside of that. And I want to explore that a little bit more, but for now, let's move on to what came in at number two, and that was at 22%. That was risk of falls and injuries. So that shows a lot about the practical wisdom that comes
Mhm.
with age, and that we're more in tune with knowing that we need to stay strong and we need to have our balance, and how important that is, and how that if we do fall, that it can seriously impact our lives.
Big time. Now, I've got two examples. So, my
Yep.
client Shane has Parkinson's,
Mm-hmm.
and he spends 8 hours a week in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we do because we're keeping him strong. He has leg tremors. He can shuffle sometimes. We were out one day, and he tripped and fell
Oh,
on cement.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yep.
And no sooner had I seen him trip and fall that he was standing. Now, I 100% attribute that to him doing his workouts and building his strength.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Second lady, around the same age as Shane, she came to where I teach a seniors class, and she had had her first ever fall and could not get up.
Mm-hmm.
And she is now terrified of even walking. She started shuffling because she doesn't want to pick her feet up.
Oh, yes, yes. And I've heard that story as well too. I'm just trying, it was Patricia. Patricia. Yeah, she had a fall, and so she loved, bushwalking and hiking and the likes. And what happened was she was so scared to actually just go out and do something that she loved. She had that absolute fear of that she was going to fall again.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so that's where it's so important that we're not just focusing on one aspect of fitness, that we're focusing on all of the things that we need to do in order to stay strong and fit for life.
Absolutely. You know, with Shane, I have him doing, with his Parkinson's especially, um, you know, he's doing strength training, he's doing stretching. I have him on the cardio, on the treadmill, the bike, the rower.
Yeah,
But I also have him walking stairs with weights.
absolutely.
And, you know, making sure he's lifting his feet,
Mm-hmm.
but also he can do that rotation at the top of the stairs to come back down without tangling his feet up
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and going into a fall. Yeah.
And so, look, I saw this firsthand this morning when we were on the floor and we were doing push-ups to side plank holds. And the number of ladies that, weren't coming into that. And as I started to look at it, I went, okay, ladies, let me show you what's going on here. They weren't moving their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so you're trying to turn your body, but all you're trying to do is turn the top half of it. You're not actually worrying
Yeah.
about what's going on at the bottom half of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, okay. Um, the other thing, the top three was feeling more energetic. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it was the third most popular, and that was at 17%. And I know that we all want to have that extra pep in our step. And I think that recognizing that physical activity actually helps us create more energy is such a valuable thing.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Sitting on your couch and praying that the energy knocks on your front door and comes inside and says, "G'day, do you want to go now?" It's
It's
not
not
happening.
happening.
No.
It's not happening. It is not happening. Uh,
No.
What I found really interesting though was that boosting your confidence and looking good only came in at 9%.
Wow. Wow.
So that really just reinforces that it's not so much about the appearance, but it's also, more about how we're doing life, how we're living life each day. And it's a really interesting thing that I was looking at something on Instagram the other day, and this other fitness trainer, she had a picture of her before and after. And look, she looked amazing. But there were so many comments from women over the age of 50 on that post that says, you look much better before, you're too bulky now, your shape was much better. And so it is really interesting that what that also tells us is that we don't necessarily want to look like that with all, the toned arms and the toned legs, or we don't want to do the work for it, maybe. But we do want to actually at least be able to do things and live life and still enjoy aspects of life as well. Would you agree with that?
Mm, absolutely. And I think it's so, 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 so important to do it. Your why should be for you and do it for you. Like, as you said, everyone commenting on the photo, you look so much better back then.
Mm.
And that's what everyone, that's what society looks at women and have
Mm.
looked at women that way for years and years and years and years and years. It's all about how you look.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I follow a trainer on Instagram and she's a bigger girl. Man, you know, she can squat, I think, over 100 kilos,
Yeah.
you know, and people just comment on the way she looks. And it's like, no, look at what she's lifting,
Mm.
what she's squatting. Look at the strength she has. And doing that is going to take her into old age.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I always come back down to the fact that it's not about what the outside is about. It's what's going on the inside, and when we go to the doctors, they'll do our BMI as an example, or they'll get us to jump on the scales to see how we're traveling. But the reality is that we should be checking body composition, because that's what's important, because that's an underlying factor for, you know, those preventable health diseases that we can have long term.
Absolutely. And any of your local gyms, just call around your local gyms. Some of them, you know, have the body scan machines, and you can pay like a $20 fee to go and get your body scan done. And they're very comprehensive.
Yeah, for sure. So confidence and feeling good was at 9%, but also we had another one at 9% and this was a really interesting one for me, Sal. I didn't expect it to be at this level. I thought it would have been a little bit higher, and that was increase strength for daily activities. So we understand we want functional fitness, which is to be able to do the things like carrying the groceries or chasing little people around the room, or, you know, those types of things. But what it was really interesting is that it was so far down the list.
Yep. I would say it was probably down the list because those people are thinkers. They're thinking about it deeper still, which is what you want to do. You know, we always talk about it, 50 reasons why. That gets you digging deep.
Okay. Yes. And so what you're meaning is that a lot more people are just thinking more on surface level, at that higher level, rather than digging into, okay, I really need to be able to do this particular activity around the house, and we're not actually honing in on that activity as such. Yeah, that's a fair call too, because I know that when you ask the question about, for example, when you're coaching and I might be attending your session, you might ask a question that says, you know, where have you noticed your strength improved? And you'll get, you know, I'm stronger in my shoulder presses or the likes, but it's highly unlikely, but we do get it. I've noticed that I can do this better, you know, and it's some type of function that we do in daily life.
And there was only one, because we asked 10 of our women, I asked 10 of our women on Friday morning, and only one of them took it further and flicked it into her, that her balance and her stability during her boxing classes has improved.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Because of FitFlex,
yeah. I mean, like I was telling the ladies this morning that I went and retested myself on a dead man hang because I had the opportunity to go and use the neighbours' equipment next door. All the kids were out. So they've got one of those Ninja Warrior courses.
Yep.
So I took the kids down there, and the grandkids, who are now the kids. And so we were playing on it, and I thought, oh, just retest my dead man's hang, because my aim was to get to, you know, because I'm in my 60s, what I want to be able to do is 45 seconds of holding. And I've managed to now get to 43.9 seconds, and not quite there, but so close. And I'm sure if I wasn't turning my head and watching what the kids were doing and something like that, I probably could have stayed there longer. So huge improvement, and that means my grip strength has improved, you know, my shoulder strength, my whole overall body has definitely improved, because, you know, it's my whole weight that I've got hanging there. So and as I came down, I thought, wonder if I can do a backflip. Woo! Did. So there you go. There is that quote that's around that says, you know, something or other about stopping playing because you stop moving, type of thing. So whatever that happens to be. And it's so true. You know, I know that for a fact, if I was not doing the sessions, and focusing on the strength that we are incorporating and building that flexibility and stability, that I wouldn't be doing those things. And it's really,
Yeah.
really important now that I have two children living with me, that I keep that strength, because, I'm not in my 20s and 30s as I was when I was originally raising children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, the other one was, this was interesting, only 4% want to keep up with their grandkids.
Wow.
That's pretty low. It's much lower than what I expected it to be.
But once again, they're not thinking deep, I don't think.
Mm,
It's that surface level, only thinking about, only putting themselves in the equation, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, you're going to
Yeah.
love this, Sel, because the last two reasons both came in at 3%, and they were traveling, whether that be, in country or overseas, or managing chronic diseases better. So
Mm-hmm.
isn't that really interesting?
Yes.
Because most of the women who work out will tell us that, they want to go traveling. They want to be able to do, the sports that they love, whether that be golf, tennis, or hiking or whatever. They want to be able to do those things. They want to keep up with their grandkids. They're the top three things that we hear constantly. And yet when we've polled this wider group, what we've discovered is those things are not sitting at the top. They're sitting down the bottom of the poll. So it
Yeah.
was fascinating for me. It was
Yeah.
like, wowza. And the other one that just came in at 1%, was maintaining an active social life. And yet we're
Oh,
social
yeah.
creatures. I would have thought that would have been way up the top.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm wondering whether what happened was that we didn't actually expand the list out, because there were so many opportunities there to actually engage in, that what happened was they just picked the ones that they saw and then, didn't look at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this, as I referred to it before, the 50 reasons why, I think it's so important to take the time to do that,
Mm,
because then you are digging deep as to why you want to stay motivated to keep exercising.
yeah, absolutely. So just to break that down for the ladies who haven't heard us talk about that before, it's today. Get out your pen, get out your paper, and then write down 10 reasons why your health and fitness is important to you. Okay. And you're going to come up with those normal things that we talk about, be more flexible, be stronger, etc., etc. But then you're going to do 10 more reasons tomorrow, and 10 more reasons the next day, and the next day, and the next day, till you've got 50 reasons. Then what you do is you look at your 50 reasons and put them into categories, and you go, well, hang on a minute. Here's the one that stand out for me, and here's the secondary one. So, and there might be crossovers as well too. So you're right, Sal, spending some time actually identifying what's important to us, why we want to be like that, is so, so important. Do you
Yeah.
have anything you want to wrap up with, Sal?
No, I just want to reiterate that 50 reasons why. I'm sitting here thinking about my grandson,
Mm-hmm.
Landon, and I'm thinking, I want to see him getting married,
Yes.
and that's, he might get married in 25, 30 years. I'm going to be in my 80s. I want to see
Mm-hmm.
that, so that would be on my list. And your
Yeah.
lists change, I did this 50 reasons why when we first did it with Anne Budden.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
How long
So,
ago was that? 6, 7, 8 years ago.
oh no, Sal, it's way longer than that. You were
Yeah,
probably in your 40s, early 40s maybe back then. Mm.
yeah. And so, yeah, your priorities absolutely change. So if you have done the list prior,
Before? Mm.
pull it out, yeah, and have a look at it and see if you need to update.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I want to finish, Sal, with making sure that your fitness routine aligns with what those primary reasons are for you. So you need to focus on the right type of exercises that it is going to meet those objectives. I think it's really important not to underestimate the power of strength and energy, even though they didn't rate as high in the list, because increased strength and energy significantly improve our overall health and well-being and the quality of life that we actually have. And I think the most important thing is to remember that it is never too late to start. You can build muscle in your 90s. There's research being done on this, that you can keep building your muscles. So it is never too late to start. And I think that it's really important to not allow the excuses and the reasons that we give ourselves to not do it and not do it consistently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if your reason is I want to build strength training, taking a 20-minute stroll every day is not going to build your strength.
No, it's not.
And so, as you said, it's so very important to align your physical activity, your physical workout with what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for joining me, Sel.
Thanks for having me.
I know it's cold outside.
Freezing winter weather.
I was outside. I went outside before I started training. So I ran the sessions this morning. And so I was out there, bright and early. It was pitch black. And I can tell you now that it was under 0. It was super cold. Yeah.
In the minus.
Yeah. So
I just taught MetaFit. Yeah, and they're all sweating and I've got my beanie on. Go girls.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. You're doing great. All right. Thanks for joining us, ladies. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.